Hello, students. Welcome to second session of Series 2 of your BoS for Success. This webcast is meant for you, students. In the first webcast in the Series 1 of financial reporting session, we have discussed what are the preparation tips, how to prepare, from where to prepare, what is the examination pattern, what is the pattern of the question paper which appears in the examination, how it has been bifurcated into section-wise weightage, how skill-wise weightages have been taken care of, what will be the structure of the question paper, how much descriptive questions, how much MCQ questions will be asked, what will be the distribution, everything, and what are the do's and don'ts, common thing, what is your syllabus, all we have made you aware in your session 1. In case students have any issues or they want me to repeat that, they can come to me. Otherwise, today what we have thought that today we'll be discussing the case scenarios of your mock test papers. This mock test paper 2, which was on 30th September, that, and also if you time permits, will also go for mock test paper 1 case scenarios, so that in case you have any doubt, you can also ask for that. Okay, students, so let me see in case you have. Good afternoon, Gaurav. Good afternoon. Okay. So students, shall I start with the MTP, or should you want me to discuss some general part also, like what is the structure, or what should be the examination tips, or what points you should take care of during the examination, before the examination, and even after the examination. So Tushar, Sumit, Pooja, Nitya, Naveen, Mitali, Mit, Harish, Afsan, Ramaneshwaran. Anybody? You have any issues?
Ma'am, we can discuss about the general points which needs to be taken care while attempting the paper.
Okay, Pooja. Okay, we'll do that. So first of all, let me share my screen with you. Screen is shared. Okay, so students, let me just discuss the general part first. Students, though we have discussed this, I'm just again explaining you what is the question paper pattern. See, now under new scheme in financial reporting paper, we'll be having a mix of your objective type questions as well as descriptive type questions. In your exact okay, some students are asking for MTP also. Students will move. I'll just take a short run to the general part and then we move to MTP. Okay. So this time under new scheme, we are having objective as well as descriptive questions. So the proportion is 30% for MCQs, that is objective type questions, and 70% is for descriptive. In your objective type questions, it is not that you will be having independent MCQs, you will be having case scenario based MCQs. So a scenario will be given. Based on that scenario, the facts given in the scenario will maybe more than one or two MCQs are asked on similar concept or on one particular standard, and there'll be more than 2 or 3 standards in each scenario. So that will be the paper pattern for your MCQs. And then descriptive part, now because we are having 30% MCQs, so there will be 70% for descriptive question, because now your paper is 70% descriptive. So whatever the questions which were appearing in your examination in the previous scheme for 20 marks with subparts, that will not be there. Your each question will be of 14 marks. In 14 marks question, it may be one single question or it may be subparts also. But your maximum marks for one question, including subparts, will be 14 marks. So there are few chapters or few sections where full-fledged question may be asked or are being asked. One is your consolidated financial statement, or your chapter 12 or 13, I am guessing, that is on business combinations, on your consolidation. That may, from that particular topic, one full-fledged question may be asked in your examination. For your financial instrument also, since the weightage of that particular section is big and there's only one topic, that is financial instrument, in that particular section, so your question will be on 10 to maybe maximum 10 marks on financial instrument. Remaining section coverage will be in the form of your MCQs. The reason behind is that what we have planned, or what we believe in the examination, based on what we have analyzed your May 2024 examination, is that section-wise weightage compliance will be either in your objective plus your descriptive or overall. Okay, it may not that key it is has to be MCQ, maybe same section wise distribution is to be there. No, it is not necessary. It may be overall section wise compliance is there. That will also be considered as compliance. Okay. Oh, one more thing. In your objective type question, as you know that we have this time we are having 8 sections. So let me just quickly bring you to the this I've already discussed with you. All in case scenario part, there will be all MCQs will be mandatory. There won't be any choice internally or externally. Okay, so it will not be that one case scenario is having 5 MCQs and you are asked to do any 4. It will that is internal choice. It will not be there, and it will not be like that. There are 5 case scenarios and you are asked to do any 4. It will not be there. So there will be no choice in your 30% section of your objective type questions. In your descriptive part, the same pattern, there'll be 6 questions, 1 external choice and 1 internal choice. That will what was prevailing earlier in descriptive part for 100 marks, that will be applicable for your 70 marks paper also. Okay. This time we are having 8 sections. So what we believe, if we go for section wise compliance, so this will be your section wise compliance. Sorry, your this column division A, that is column number C, this will have a section wise compliance in this manner. And similarly in your descriptive part also we'll be having section wise compliance. Otherwise, in case there is no section wise compliance for objective and descriptive separately, then entirety there'll be section wise compliance, which is given in your column E. Okay. Okay. Next, we move to section wise weightage and coverage. I just come back to this slide. Like what I was saying, that this particular section 6, this is on consolidated financial statement. This is basically okay, students. So this particular section is on your consolidated financial statement. A maximum question which may be asked in your examination for each will be of 14 marks. So one question of 14 marks is possible here because it falls within the range of 10 to 16. So in general, your question for consolidation will be of 14 marks. And in your financial instrument, since you are having a weightage of 9 to 13, that's why 14 marks paper question is not possible. So we believe that you will be getting paper for 10 marks or 11 marks or 9 marks, whatever. Okay. The reason behind for not having 12 marks question paper is because for MCQs, your each MCQ there is of 2 marks. So if each MCQ is of 2 marks, it means there will be in descriptive part, we cannot have 12 marks question. For example, I'm having question 2A and 2B. Okay. 2B. If I put 2A of 12 marks, sorry, it is, if I put If I put 2A of 12 marks, then my 2B will be of 2 marks. That is not possible because 2 marks is for objective type allocation. Okay. 2 marks allocation is for objective type question. So we won't be having any question in descriptive part for 2 marks. So it means there will be no question in financial instrument for 12 marks. It will be 10, 11, 9, 8, 4, 5, 6 like this. Okay. So this is the reason, and for financial instrument in your descriptive part will be maximum having a coverage of 10 marks. Okay, now we move on to
मैडम आपको ऑडियो म्यूट हो गया.
sorry. Hope it is now audible. From where was I missing it? From where it was mute? You just let me know. I'll cover it back. Sumit? Okay, students. Alice, I think from section-wise weightage only, I missed speaking. So section-wise weightage is uncovered. This section, basically this slide helps you in understanding what your syllabus is, how your syllabus has been divided into different sections, and also what each section covers. That is, what are the chapters which are there in each section, and what is the nature of that particular chapter and why they have been bucketed together. Okay. Last slide, last para was missing. Okay, Gaurav. Last slide, last para. This was basically my section wise. Okay, this I have already explained the weightage. Why the reason we are not going to have any 12 marks question in your descriptive part, because any second part, if each question is to be of 14 marks, so out of 14, if I ask one sub part of 12 marks, another sub part will be of 2 marks, which is basically 2 marks is allocated for your MCQs. So no descriptive, no sub part in a descriptive portion will be of 2 marks. It will be 3 marks or more than that. That is the reason I'm saying for financial instrument, even we are having coverage of 9 to 13 marks, no question will be of 12 or 13 marks. It will be of 10 or 11 marks. Okay. Okay. Or maybe you have 14 marks question also on financial instrument, because in MCQs you are having 4 marks weightage. That 4 marks may shift to your descriptive part, because in entirety also, if section wise compliance is there, then also your paper will be considered as compliant. Okay. So for every first section, we are having chapters on conceptual framework, your introduction of India's part, and your first chapter that is on application, India's with reference to general purpose financial statements, where we are having India's on presentation of financial statements and India's on measurement based on accounting policies. So basically in general part, what may come in your examination is your applicability of India's on particular entity. Okay, like this time also in the examination it was there, what is the roadmap applicable for your NBFCs, or what is the roadmap applicable for banking, what is the roadmap applicable for your corporate entities. Now when it comes, it's a tricky question. When it comes to your banking and insurance, you have to mention that there is no roadmap yet. The roadmap which was issued was deferred and is not yet applicable. For NBFCs, what is the roadmap, and what are the for general entities, what is the corporate entities, what is the roadmap? That may be asked. What is the, how net worth is determined, for finding out the applicability of India's for a particular entity, how net worth is determined. That may also be asked in your examination. Okay. In your second part, conceptual framework for financial reporting under Indian accounting standards. Basically, this is on your how your financials, what information should be there in your financial statements, what are the elements of financial statements, what are the criteria for defining recognition, de-recognition, classification, and all broad framework has been discussed here, and that may be tested in your examination. Next is your application. From here, from chapter 3, your India starts. So your India's one is an important standard. Basically, if you see in more or less in every examination, you find a question on India's one. Okay. So this India's one, and general what is more probable to ask in the examination will be on your classification into current and non-current, operating cycle, or any breach of contract. Because of that, what is the change in the classification. So this is what is more or less asked in your India's one. So this is what I am trying to brief you, is that what is the important aspects, or in particular standard what you should refer. Okay. So this is on your India's one. On India's 34, basically quarter wise, what will be the profit or loss of statement of P&L? What will be the P&L showing quarter wise, what you are going to represent or compute? That will be asked in the examination, and based for that you'll be given certain transactions and how it is accounting has been done. Whether accounting is done based on as and when the expenditure has been incurred or income has been recognized based on that particular quarter, or it has to be spread into 2 or more quarters, or expenditure is done in one quarter and you are counting it in another quarter. Such type of question, and whether the accounting treatment is correct or not. Based on that, you have to calculate actual profit of that particular quarter. This may be asked in your Ind AS 34. Ind AS 7, this is there you may be asked for a full-fledged answer. Statement of cash flows, where operating cash flows from your operating activities, your financing activities, your investing activities, all three activities, a full statement may be asked to draw. So this may be of a good number of questions. Generally, what earlier in Ind AS 1 and 34, I was saying the question may be of 4 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks. Okay. But for Ind AS 7, question may be of 8 marks, 10 marks also. Okay. Because we have the scope. If I go up, you may see I'm having a range of 8 to 13 marks. Okay. And also 4 marks on in your MCQ part. So collaborate 12 to 17. So a question of 10 marks is quite possible here. So question may be asked for 10 marks in your section 1, that is on Ind AS 7 also. Okay, now three more standards which are covered in your this section 1 is on Ind AS 8, 10 and 113. Definitely questions will be here, but not for 10 marks. It will be maximum of 6 marks or 7 marks. Okay, so 8, 10 and 113. This also falls under section 1. In your Ind AS 8, 10 and also in 113, mostly what will be asked is on what I can say is that whether we have to restate it, and if we are restating any expenditure because of any error, because of any mistake or any misrepresentation, or because of any new facts which was related to prior period. So what will be the restatement? Is it restatement only to change in the comparatives, or it will be restatement to the third balance sheet? Such type of question may be asked in that particular part, or adjusting or non-adjusting event. Okay, fair valuation for in 113 to compute the fair value of any particular product or the entity for that particular operation. Okay. Now, second section, which is on Ind AS 115, completely only one standard has been given to this section. This is a separate section for income recognition. So there since we are having only one standard, so this section carries only one standard, and that standard 115. Now, because it is having only one standard, so short you are going to have a question on Ind AS 115 in your question paper. Okay. So one has to be very careful that this chapter is to be prepared before your examination. You cannot skip it. Okay. Mostly what will be asked in your 115 will be on how many performance obligations are you having based on a scenario which is given, what will be the transaction price, and what will be basically transaction price, means how much is fixed, how much is variable, and in case of variable, how to compute it. Okay. This is most probable to be asked. Okay. Now we move on to section 3. Section 3 is on your asset and liability based standard. So this section has the maximum number of standards because it is having 8 standards on assets and also 2 standards on your liabilities. So like if we go these are the 8 standards on your asset based standards, and you're having 2 standards on your liabilities. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 10 standards in this particular section. So what are the important standards that one cannot guess? The reason behind is that the USP of this paper is that it is unpredictable. If you feel that question has been asked last time in your examination on Ind AS 116, so this time 116 may not be tested, not necessary. Not necessary. This time also 116, a question may be asked on 116. So this is the particular topic where you have to see on what kind of question may be asked and for what marks a question may be asked. Generally, from this section, because we are having 10 standards, so questions will range from 4 marks to 8 marks, so that you have more than one question from this section. The reason behind is that if I give only one question and you have to study one question on one standard and you are having 10 standards to study, so that will be unfair for the students. And they are preparing for 10 standards and a question has been asked only one standard. So to maintain that coverage, and also that students, some students studied this standard, some students studied those another standard. For example, student A has studied Ind AS 2, 16, 23 and 36 and left other asset based standards, while other students have studied somewhere from 36, 38, 40 and 105. So in that case, students, those who have studied half of this section, still they are able to at least do one question, and students who have done another half of it, they also do it one. So this is just an example. Just an example. So what I meant to say is that because we are having good number of standards in this particular section, so to maintain the coverage and just to avoid the selective study also, more than one question will be asked from this particular section. And because we are having 10 standards, so definitely the weightage of this section is also high. So the weightage is 15 to 25%. So because of that, you are having the scope of being tested on more than one standard. Okay. More important is say on 116, 16, 23, 105 on these questions. And also one question either on 19 or 37 will be asked. Okay. Okay. Any question by this time? If you have, you may raise it. Okay. Okay, now we are having section 4, which will be on Ind AS, which will cover your Ind AS 12, 21, 24, 33, 108, and also 20, 102, and 41. So 3 and 36 and 28. 8 sections are there, 8 standards are there in this particular section also. So again, questions from this section will also be in the range of 4 to 8 marks. Okay. You can analyze based on your past trend what was appearing in your May 24 examination, what standards have been covered in your May 24 examination. You can assume that like for 115, definitely in every question paper, the question has to be there on 115. But for other sections, you can just take a guess what may be asked in your examination and what have already been asked. But yes, this does not mean that you have to go for any selective study. But yes, last moment revision can be of some particular questions from which question has not been appearing in your past examination. Okay. The question had not appeared in your past examination. On those topics, you can go for again revision and last moment revision. Okay. Okay. Gaurav is saying knowing everything of something and something of everything. Yes, beta, because see, USP of the CA examination is that it's unpredictable. Something you guess and you study that only, or you go for a selective study, that won't work for this paper. Because even though you are having a analysis, even though you have a selective study, we have given you section wise weightage, still, because every section has a number of standards and there's a mix match when it comes in your examination, it may happen that your section A is question 2A, for example, question 2A is on particular section and question 2B is on another section. So you cannot go for any selective study also कि ये पूरा सेक्शन ही छोड़ के चले जाते हैं, इसमें से आएगा तो क्वेश्चन वहां पे छोड़ देंगे, एग्जाम में विल स्किप इट आउट. that won't be possible. So that is the reason selective study is never promoted from our side. And what I am trying to help you is that I'm trying to just give you the important aspects which you should be revising it before the examination, that like from this standard, this is the basic aspects you should be aware of and maybe tested in your examination. Okay. But yes, every standard में से कुछ ना कुछ तो है जो आपको पढ़ के तो जाना ही है. And you cannot go for any selective study. Okay. Then on financial instrument, again, we are having more coverage will be on 32 and 109. 32 may be classification. कितना है कंपाउंड फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट, दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट. कंपाउंड फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट में आपको क्लासिफिकेशन में भी कि व्हाट इज ईदर इट इज फाइनेंशियल लायबिलिटी और इक्विटी, एंड टू प्रिपेयर अमोर्टाइजेशन चार्ट and to find out the present value of the liability. These are the aspects which are generally covered in your examination. Because I am saying from this section, 10 marks question is possible. So you have to go through those questions which are given at the end of the chapter. Okay, because they are long questions and they carry the marks. They are for 10 to 12 marks. Okay, so not 12 marks question is going to appear, but they'll be of 8 to 10 marks or 8 to 11 marks. Okay. Okay, then we are moving to our section 6, that is on group accounting. And again, we are having in business combination, consolidated financial statement, separate financial statement, your associates and joint venture accounting here. So one question of 14 marks means combination of business combination with consolidation or combination of consolidation with associate equity accounting may ask in your examination. So most probably will be more likely it will be that you have a business combination along with the consolidation. Okay. Because from last two examination, bonus share ka treatment is they are asking on bonus share treatment, they are asking on dividend treatment. So these are tricky adjustments. I would request all of you to just refer November 2023 suggested answer and also refer your May 2024 suggested answer to have an understanding of what will be the accounting treatment of bonus issues and what will be the accounting of dividend. Okay. And also one more part is on your share-based payment. In the case of business combination, what should be the accounting for share-based payment and calculation of deferred tax? Okay, Tahir is asking, in consolidation question, is there any particular format to answer in exam or we can prepare as per our choice? No, beta. Since Ind AS is applicable only to corporate entities. And for corporate entities, Schedule 3 of the Companies Act has prescribed certain formats for financial statements. We have to abide by those financial statements, those formats of financial statements. Since it is our entire syllabus is on Ind AS, so you have to follow Division 2 of Schedule 3 to the Companies Act 2013, which is on Ind AS based financial statements. फॉर्मेट में इट्स नॉट दैट कि आपको एक एक छोटी छोटी चीजें लिखनी है, यू हैव टू गो माइन्यूटली विथ ईच लाइन आइटम. नो, इट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. बट येस, major part should be there, like you have to identify what is current, what is non-current, and first you have to show in SS non-current. Within non-currents, PP, your intangible items, your goodwill, your work in progress, and your financial assets all have to be given. You can deviate with the sequencing not of that you just give first current and then non-current. No, that deviation is not permitted. But the deviation which is permitted is within non-current, you can first write goodwill or you can first write intangible and then go for PP. That much is quite acceptable, because we are not expecting students to just ratify. That purpose of giving this paper is not ratification. Your purpose of this paper is to prepare you as a consultant. Accounting softwares are there for computation and calculations, but nowadays everything, since it is digitalized, so you are not supposed to go for computing. What you are supposed to do is analyzing the scenarios using and connecting with the facts, connecting with the standards, and then relating the scenario and giving your opinion or conclusion. Just a minute. So format is necessary. You have to put non-current, then current, and under non-current you can have PPE, intangible, financial assets. Within financial assets, what appears? Your cash and equivalents, cash and bank balance, your trade receivables. But if you put inventory within financial asset, that will be wrong. Inventories do not form part of financial asset. That you have to take care of. Okay? It should not come within that. So those type of format is necessary. Within format, within main heading, subheading may be up and down. It's not necessary to follow the same sequence as prescribed in Schedule 3. But major format has to be followed. Okay, then comes your section 7, which is on first time adoption of Indian accounting standards. Only one standard, in fact. India's 10 is there, but 101 is there, but there are two topics. One is analysis of financial statement. It appears to be analysis of financial statement, but it covers all the standards. So questions given in the at the end of this chapter will be maybe asked. Na? So basically, whatever given in this chapter, analysis of financial statements, that is more or less based on standards. So you have somewhere studied in your respective standard also. Okay, if you cover those standards thoroughly, then you'll be able to do this. The questions which are there in this particular chapter 101. In 101, you have to see basically of how accounting is to be done for business combination of a deemed value. For deemed cost, you may have to check what will be transaction for an exchange, your PPE value, such kind of deemed transition, and based on transition, what will be the recognition, de-recognition, and at what measurement. That basically is covered in 101. Then last section, which is the smallest section, section 8, which is having ethics and technology, which is correlated with accounting. Weightage is 5 to 10%. So question of 5 marks may appear on this topic. With respect to ethics topic, if question appears in your examination, in your descriptive portion, how to write it? First, you have to give the correct accounting treatment based on a particular standard. Okay. Then you have to suggest what will be the repercussions in case the accountant or the chartered accountant is not following the correct accounting treatment or is not complying with any standard. In such a situation, what will be the repercussion? Repercussions should be related to your code of conduct or should be related to your schedule 6-7. Okay. That has to be seen. Okay. Sorry. While giving the repercussions, you have to take care of whether a chartered accountant is in service or in practice. Different clauses are applicable to them when they are in service and when they are in practice. So you have to take care of that. Okay. While answering it. Study guidelines are given. Study guidelines are basically meant for giving exclusions which you are not supposed to prepare for a study for your particular examination. For your November 24 examination, there are 4 standards which are not applicable. This is 29, 104, 106 and 114. See, insurance contract 104, Ind AS 104 has been replaced by Ind AS 117. But Ind AS 117, has been notified in the month of August 2024. For any new standard to be made applicable, it should be 1 year prior to the examination date. So for November 24 examination, any standard which is issued before October 2023 will be applicable. Since it was notified in the month of August 24 itself, 2 months back, it won't be applicable. Above all, it is industry specific standard and we have already excluded 104. So most probably your 117 is also excluded. So that new standard, that new amendment is there, that will not be applicable to you for your November 24 examination. But because of notification of this Ind AS 117, there are limited revisions in other standards also. And those limited revisions, if applicable to your if those limited revisions are on those standards which are applicable to you for November, it's not for November 24 examination, but for your May 25 or AGE, then in that case, that will be it. So limited revision may be applicable, but the entire Ind AS 117 will not be applicable. Okay. Okay, this was a list of topic-wise exclusions. One important aspect is this, which you have to take care is that any difference between accounting standard and Indian accounting standard, most probably on AS 7, 19, AS 7, 9, 19 and 22, a question may be asked on this particular aspects for differences. A practical type of question may ask where you are having differences between AS 7 vis-a-vis Ind AS 7, your AS 9 vis-a-vis Ind AS 115, AS 7 and AS 9 vis-a-vis Ind AS 115, AS 19 vis-a-vis your Ind AS 116, and your AS 22 vis-a-vis Ind AS 12. Any question which have a difference, which is difference are major. So any question or practical type of question may be asked on difference aspect also of 5 marks. Okay. Now, from where to prepare this, because you are standing on in the today is 15th October, so I believe you have already prepared for your examination. But this is just what I would like to say in case you have missed. Basically, students what misses these portion. So what we have to see is that you have not missed it. Study material is with you, or you are preparing from your any notes. It's okay. MCQ paper practice portal. This is very important. MCQ paper practice portal will carry two types of MCQs. One is independent MCQs and another is case scenario based MCQs. Independent MCQs will not be asked in your examination, but you should prepare for you should practice those MCQ questions, or you should appear on this paper practice portal. You should just go for this independent MCQs because that will help you in understanding about your conceptual clarity. Okay, so try them. Then case scenario based questions which are there in your MCQ paper practice portal, that similar type of questions may be asked in your examination because they may have integrated scenarios. They may have scenarios which gives lead to 2 or 3 MCQs. Such type of questions appear in your examination, so that will help you in preparing for your exam. But independent MCQs will help you in understanding and evaluating your understanding of any particular NDAs or your preparation level, evaluation of your preparation level. Okay. Saransh, this is for two purpose. Instead of preparing any notes, you can refer Saransh, whatever you have studied, that is covered in your Saransh, and you can just go through the flow chart because flow charts help you in easy retention. So basically, Saransh covers flow charts. Flow charts, or in the tabular form, we have given the summary of each standard that is applicable to you for your November 24 examination. You can refer that. It will also help you for your last minute revision. So this is the publication, which is a sought after publication of Board of Studies and a premium publication. And you can refer this for both purpose. For preparation of notes, instead of preparing notes, you can mark it here. And also for your last minute revision. RTPs are basically released in the month of, for November examination, they are released in the month of July, August. And for your May examination, it is released in the month of January, February. So RTPs basically helps you in evaluating any new question which appears in your RTP. Are you able to do it or not? Because what kind of questions are in the study material, what kind of questions are there in the suggested MTPs, you have practiced them many times. But when a new question is given to you, maybe of moderate difficulty, not of very high difficulty, but because it's of moderate difficulty, but it's a new question for you, so you may get stuck up somewhere in between, or you may not able to perform well. So that will help you in understanding how much confident you are in particular standard. So RTPs in general carries new questions. Okay. Then comes your mock test papers and suggested answers. Mock test papers is basically what is already there in your material, or you have already studied in from BoS inputs. But when it comes under examination condition, strictly for 3 hours, when you have to do, how much your mind works. Are you able to perform, or are you able to solve those questions which you have solved earlier also, which you have practiced earlier? Are you able to do it under examination condition? That evaluation and analysis can be done, self introspection can be done through mock test papers. Suggested answers give you an idea if a question appears in an examination, what kind of answers should be given and what should be the manner of presentation and what kind of questions appear in the examination. That will also be, you'll be able to understand through suggested answers. Okay. So last minute revisions, I already told you for practical questions, you have already marked out what are the important questions which you have to filter out for your second revision or for third revision, that you should mark it out. And especially the tricky adjustments which you were not able to do in the first round of study or second round of study, that also you can cover it here. Okay. So you should mark it out. That is very important. That is the reason, if you see, I have mentioned you that for your consolidated part, for bonus issue, for your dividend, you have to check the accounting treatment. They are tricky adjustments which are, but for those accounting, for those type of transactions, questions have been appeared in your suggest November 2023 and May 24 examination. So practice them. Similar type of questions are appearing in your examination, so you should be well versed with the accounting treatment for those transactions. Okay. Okay. One is always there. See, students, you will often hear this: think positive, meditate and exercise, do not do selective studies, should have conceptual clarity, you should not go for last minute revision or last minute preparation, plan your studies. But sometimes we say ये तो सभी कहते हैं, इसमें कौन सी नई बात बताई किसी ने ना. But okay, student have asked, can you explain dividend treatment in short? I'll do this, beta. Huh? So plan your study. You may have heard it often, but and it in general it happens that you subconscious mind you ignore it, but these are the facts, beta. Once you apply them, once you follow them, you'll realize, when you'll get the success, you will realize that yes, they were important tips. And when we have not followed, you realize ki okay, this was the tip which I have not followed, and that is the reason somewhere which is contributing to my adverse result. Okay, so whenever you do anything, one point I missed in your MTP also, I'll cover that also, and then I'll come to this dividend accounting. Okay. Okay. Following points should be considered for fair. One is that when we were doing MTP wala portion, na, so after questions on MTP question paper is uploaded or it is appeared, it was conducted in your branch, 2 days after that we upload the answer sheet also. Students, please do self introspection. That is also important. Simply comparing your solution or your performance and you're scoring 70 out of 100 or you're 60 out of 100. Okay, my performance, no. For remaining part which you were not able to score, the 30 marks which you lost, 40 marks which you lost at the time of your mock test paper, what was the reason? That self introspection is very, very important. Your self introspection should be categorized in your silly mistakes. You were not able to understand a question, or something new came to you were not able to remember that such kind of question you have already practiced earlier, or you understood the question, you were doing it somewhere in the between, you got stuck up. What is the reason? Do self introspection and work on that. If it is a silly mistake, go for good written practice. If it is a question which earlier you have practiced but still you are not able to remember when it came in your mock test paper, it means somewhere you have not done the good practice of that particular standard or chapter. Again, brush up the concepts. If you are not able to bilkuli lost a particular standard, means again you have to do written practice and everything. Na? Figure mistakes you are doing it, your hand-mind coordination is not there, it means written practice is not there. So such type of things you have to self-introspect and work on that. Okay. Okay, some student was asking, ma'am, can you explain dividend treatment in short? So student, for dividend at the time of consolidation, see, dividend, you have to see whether it is from pre-acquisition or post-acquisition profit. Okay. In general, if in question date of dividend declaration is not mentioned, but it is mentioned that that particular dividend relates to this particular year or this particular period, you can identify easily whether it belongs to pre-acquisition or post-acquisition portion. Okay. If it is a post-acquisition dividend, in both the cases, basically in your post-acquisition, it should be credited to profit and loss. Okay. It should not be reducing your cost of investment. And when it is already giving, it is, if an entity or the parent entity who is receiving the dividend have already credited to P&L, it's fine. The treatment is okay and you need no need to do any further adjustment. If it is they have reduced to the cost of investment, then you have to add it back. And then after that, you have to calculate the goodwill or any bargain purchase. Okay. If it is a pre-acquisition dividend. If it is a pre-acquisition dividend, then you have to see that, yes, it will reduce your cost of investment. Okay. So this what is basically the broad dividend treatment you have to see. Okay. Whether accounting is to be done or not. Okay. Now comes the question. Sometimes answers are given in para. This who is asking? Komal. Okay. Komal is asking, sometimes answers are given in para form, but if in the exam, if we made a tabular presentation, then okay, I know, but if what kind of tabular presentation, Komal, you are saying? I was not able to understand exactly what you are asking for. Sometimes answers are given in para form, but in the exam, if we made a tabular presentation, See, presentation doesn't matter much. What is important is that whatever you are being tested, you are answering on that particular point, and your answer, whatever you have arrived at the conclusion or in the computation part, that is correct. Presentation may vary from student to student, completely okay, but yes, it should be legible. Huh? Students, examiner should understand what you want to draw, compute. Okay, the student has asked that if the dividend, I believe you're asking about dividend is paid by subsidy. I was explaining that only, beta. For dividend only, I was saying if a subsidiary has paid the dividend, and then you have to find it out for what period it belongs to. If it belongs to your pre-acquisition period, cost of investment is reduced, fine. Otherwise, it should be credited to P&L. Okay, sorry, of cost of if an entity, parent entity has credited. Credit means dividend is received by them. If dividend is received by them, it means subsidiary has paid it. Okay. So I explained that portion only, beta. Okay, let's move to next part. How to improve marks in the examination. Basic thing, your handwriting should be legible. At least, see, in examination in 3 hours, you have to speed. फटाफट करना है. तो थोड़ी तो writing बिगड़ेगी. It is obvious and acceptable also. But it doesn't mean कि इतने आप डॉक्टर वाली writing कर दें. Don't do that. At least should be legible. Examination means it happens that you are given 15 minutes reading time. In 15 minutes reading time, try to find out which question you are going to attempt first. You cannot read the entire question paper in detail, but at least you can find out which question or which particular topic you feel ये तो पढ़ा हुआ है और I am very sure मैं इसका आंसर सही करूंगा, तो उसी को आप पहले करिए, irrespective of that is question 1 or question 5, whatever. आप पहला इंप्रेशन बनाना है तो आप डिस्क्रिप्टिव का वो करेंगे. आपको ऑब्वियस है फॉर 15 मिनट्स यू वोंट बी गेटिंग एमसीक्यू पार्ट, बट आई सजेस्ट इज दैट कि एमसीक्यू पहले कर लीजिए, क्योंकि एमसीक्यू पहले करने से क्या होता है कि उसमें आपको आंसर्स ही टिक करने हैं. यू हैव टू ओनली टिक दी ऑप्शन. यू हैव फोर ऑप्शंस प्रोवाइडेड. यू हैव टू थिंक विद इन दोज 4 ऑप्शंस एंड यू आर नॉट सपोज टू गिव एनी कैलकुलेशंस. यू आर नॉट सपोज टू राइट एनीथिंग. ओनली ऑन calculator you can compute and you can take your options. So it will save your time, and that saving of time can be used in that saved time can be used in your descriptive part. So I prefer advising that go for MCQs. However, if you feel that you're not very confident in your MCQ part, then you can attempt that MCQ portion, that 30 marks MCQ portion somewhere in between also. Okay, start with the one which you are most confident with. Okay. Okay, Komal is asking why we do not we get full marks. We always get 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. Gives how to write. Students, very important thing. See, some students come to me with their answer sheet. They say, "Ki ma'am, what went wrong? It is matching with my suggested answer. Still, I have not scored full marks." The reason is that what they do is that they match the final answer. 500 मैम मिला तो है, 500 किया हुआ है. For example, recently a student came and a student showed me his answer sheet and said, I don't understand why I have not scored full marks. There were 2 parts in the question. One was that question was on 115. There were 2 parts in the question. How many performance obligations are there, and to split that transaction price in between the performance obligations. It was basically find the transaction price for each obligation and how many obligations were there. So second part was to find the transaction price. So what he was done, he found out 2 obligations. He had split that transaction price between the 2 obligations, but he had, the first part was how many obligations are there and what are those obligations. He had not answered it. Simply done the calculation that this is this discount value और इसमें ये एक आपकी सर्विस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, इसमें आपका ये मीन्स सेल ऑफ गुड है और उसका उन्होंने ट्रांजेक्शन प्राइस ये दिया था, उसको बाइफिकेट कर दिया. उनको लगा आंसर मैच कर रहा है. तो द रीजन इज दैट, वन मेजर रीजन इज दैट वी डू नॉट give all the subparts of the answer which was required in the question part. See, you have to be very careful. Second is, see the verbs in the requirement part. Sometimes it is mentioned present your solution. Sometimes it is mentioned compute. Sometimes it is mentioned to comment or to recommend the correct accounting treatment. Sometimes it is mentioned to analyze, determine, compute, calculate, present or disclose. any type of terminology may be used. So you have to take care of what is the requirement of the question. If it is saying to present, it means after computation, you have to also show in your financial statement. Maybe the entire financial statement you are not supposed to draw. Extract of financial statement is required. Extract of statement of P&L, extract of balance sheet, but you have to present it. Either draw it in the form of extract and show it under which head it should come in your balance sheet or in your statement of P&L, or you give it in the form of theory, but explain the presentation. Yes, okay, this is now a current item. Current item will appear under this heading of financial asset or current financial asset under this, or this will be the. You have to explain the presentation because ask question requires you to explain the presentation and you are giving the computation. Computation is one of the sub part of that presentation, but not the entire solution. So that you have to take care of. So we miss in this part that we do not understand the exact requirement of the question and we start doing it because we feel this is a practical paper. But practical doesn't mean numerical paper, beta. Practical means something which is theoretical where you have to evaluate, we have to come to a conclusion. That is also practical paper. Okay. So as I told you at the beginning of the session, nowadays computation part is mostly done by the software. We have many accounting softwares. So what as this paper will help you to develop the skills of analysis, that develop the skill of consultants. Okay, so you have to read the question very carefully, the requirement part, and accordingly you have to give your answer. Okay, and one thing is based on marks also. If a question is of 5 marks, you can cut short your explanation. If a question is of 8 marks and it requires explanation, you have to give it accordingly. हम बच्चों को भी स्कूल में बताते हैं ना अपने इसमें मम्मी पापा ने आप लोगों को बता रखा होगा कि जितने मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन उसके अकॉर्डिंग आंसर लिखना है ना. सो दैट इज द एप्लीकेबल फॉर टू द पॉइंट लिखना है, इधर उधर की थ्योरी नहीं डालनी है. पर आपका एक्सप्लेनेशन कितना डीप होना चाहिए, कितना इसमें जाना है, वो मार्क्स पे भी डिपेंड करता है ना. Okay, next we move to how to improve marks. Yeah, see, we are already done. 1 hour is about to go and we are still in the general part. So I'll try to just speed up so that we at least do one mock test paper. Okay. How to manage time in the examination? ये मैंने आपको already बता दिया. 15 minutes you have to use judicially to understand which question to be taken up first, where you are confident, most confident. How to manage time in the examination? Again, written practice will always help you in speeding up at that last moment. And one thing is that don't leave the practical question for the end. Because in theory part, if you are having short time, you can put phrases, you can put in bullets, you can put subheading without much explanation. You can cut short your theory, but you cannot cut short your calculation. You cannot cut short your balance sheet telling of balance sheet of consolidation. So numerical questions where computation is involved, don't try to do it at the end. Keep it some theory portion at the end in case you are having two options to leave कि which कौन सा question last में करें. Try to do the theory part क्योंकि इसमें आप छोटा भी लिखेंगे तब भी एग्जामिनर समझ जाएगा लास्ट मोमेंट पे लिखा है, थोड़ा टाइम कम रहा होगा, हेडिंग भी लिख दिया, कीवर्ड्स लिख दिए तो उससे भी समझ आएगा कि बच्चे को नॉलेज है. ठीक है. Keywords, one thing which came to my mind is sometimes there are certain questions where you have to give the answer in a theoretical manner. So in theoretical manner, obviously, it is not expected to quote para numbers. It is not expected to quote word by word what is given in the standard. But there are certain key terminologies or keywords which are used, which should reflect in your answer, which should come in your answer. So to reflect that you have the understanding of that particular standard. For example, if you are putting your say India's 37 you're talking about, or you're talking about say India's 105, where you are saying where is fair value less cost to sell or less cost to disposal. So these are the words. If you explain it fair value less any expenditure at the time of disposal, or so that is the deep explanation less any expenditure. Though you have some back of the mind कि fair value less cost to disposal लिखना, लेकिन अगर आपके आंसर में ये टर्म नहीं आ रहा तो it will show that somewhere you are not having a good understanding or hold of that particular standard. So try to use the terminology, commonly used terminologies which you will find often in that particular standard to use in your answer as well. Okay. formats is very necessary to follow the formats where you are when it comes to prepare financial statements. Okay. So students, this is basically what I wanted to explain you more. I want to move to your second part, that is your mock test paper. Let's start with your second series of your mock test paper, which recent series mock test paper which had been done. Is it can it come single page? Okay. Hmm? Okay. नहीं तो वो है ना. अच्छा, there it is. Okay. Thank you, students. So let's move on to our MCQ portion. Let me see this September. Okay, this is series 1. We are going for series 2 paper. So we'll do the case scenario here. And in case you have any particular doubt in this scenario, we can discuss that. We are reading the first case scenario. ABC Limited maintains its accounts and prepares its annual finance. In case you have any question for a general part, you can post on chat or you can ask me one-to-one by unmuting yourself or on the ECPPL portal also. There also you can ask me question. I'll be replying it. So right now I'm solving the case scenario 1 of your this mock test paper series 2. MTP2, ABC Limited maintains its accounts and prepares its annual financial statements in accordance with Indian accounting standard. It is a diversified global business group with operations spanning multiple sectors. The finance team, while working on finalizing the books for the year ending 31st March 2003, encountered challenges with the following transactions. ABC Limited manufactures automobile parts. It has shown a net profit of 20 lakh. For the third quarter of 2000 X2 X3. This is the for third quarter we are preparing and they have already computed 20 lakh as a net profit for third quarter. However, following adjustments are made while computing the net profit and you have to see those adjustments are correct or not. And in case they are incorrect, then after making the rectification entries, what is the correct net profit of that particular quarter? Following adjustments are made while computing the net profit. Bad debts of 1 lakh incurred during the quarter. During the quarter means during the third quarter. 50% of the bad debts have been referred to the next quarter. However, Ind AS 34 is very clear about this. Any expenditure incurred in any of that quarter should be charged in that particular quarter itself. Okay. Until unless it is an uneven incurring of the expenditure throughout the year, it is not evenly incurred, or there is any particular, you can fairly justify that why you are distributing or deferring it to different quarters. Otherwise, any expenditure which you incur in that particular quarter, you have to charge it there itself. Okay. Okay. So bad debts 1 lakh incurred during the quarter. So this 50% which has already been deferred, it will be again added back. And when it is added back, so what 50% means 50,000 has been have to be again added back. Then is 5 lakh expenditure on account of administrative expenses pertaining to third quarter is deferred on the argument that the fourth quarter will have more sales. Therefore, fourth quarter should be debited by higher expenditure. The expenditures are uniform throughout all quarters. So here it is mentioned uniform throughout all quarters. If it is uniform throughout all quarter, it means the expenditure which has been incurred in that particular quarter has to be charged in that particular quarter itself. If it is uneven or it is not uniform, in that case you have to find out how allocation is to be done. Okay, so 5 lakh expenditure on account of administrative expenses has been deferred pertaining to this was relating to third quarter, has been deferred to fourth quarter, so it should be in third quarter. So again this 5 lakh should also be charged in the third quarter. So 20 lakh reduced by 50,000 of bad debts, which was 50,000 of bad debts, which should have been charged but not charged, and 5 lakh, which was deferred, should also be charged in this third quarter only. So you are having the correct treatment, correct net profit of the third quarter as 14 lakh 50,000. Fine. So let's see MCQs related to this particular portion. What will be the treatment of bad debts incurred during the third quarter? Bad debt expenses incurred during third quarter should be recognized in the same quarter. Accordingly, 50,000 should be deducted from 20 lakh. Yes, so okay. Now let me see what other options are stating. Bad debt expenses incurred during third quarter should be recognized equally in the third and fourth quarter, which was already done by the treatment. So they are saying the treatment is correct. So as we discussed earlier, because it is an expense of third quarter, it has to be charged in the third quarter. So this is not the correct treatment. Bad debt expenses incurred during third quarter should be recognized at the end of the financial year in the last quarter. That means entire 1 lakh should be charged in the fourth year, but it was incurred in the third quarter. So how is it possible? So this is also not correct. No bad debt accounted in the interim financial statement in any of the quarters. So they are saying कि interim financial statement में bad debt की accounting ही नहीं होनी चाहिए. Is it possible? If it is an expense or a loss, it has to be accounted for as and when it is incurred. So this is also wrong. So your correct treatment is A. Next part of this, the correct net profits to be shown. This we have already calculated and we came to 14 lakh 50,000. So this is your correct option. Okay, again move to the second scenario of this particular case. Second part, ABC Limited enters into a contract to build a power plant for a customer. The entity will be responsible for the overall management of the project, including services to be provided like engineering, site clearance, foundation, procurement, construction of the structure, piping and wiring, installation of equipment, and finishing. So it appears to be so many performances: site clearance, engineering, foundation, procurement, construction of the structure, piping and wiring, installation of equipment, and finishing. But they all are related to one contract, a contract. Okay, ABC Limited enters into a contract to build a power plant for a customer. When you are building a power plant, you have to take care of the engineering part also. For building the power plant, you have to go for a site clearance also. You have to go for foundation procurement for that building of power plant. You need to do the construction of the structure, piping and wiring, all installation of equipment. They are all part of building a power plant. It is not a separate thing. First thing. Second, criteria as per 115 is that you have to find out they are distinct or not. In case promised goods and services are capable of being distinct as per the principles of 115. You have to see that is whether the customer can benefit from the goods and services either on their own or together with other readily available resources. Can we have any, without building a power plant, can we have piping and wiring? Can we have installation of equipment without having a building the power plant? Can we have the finishing work without building a power plant? Can we have a site clearance, but we are not building it? Is it a separate performance obligation? No. Can we have engineering, but we don't have a building we are not supposed to build a power plant, but we have an engineering for that power plant? What will be the purpose of doing that? So they are not distinct performance. They cannot be used separately. The customer could generate economic benefits from the individual goods and services by using, consuming, selling or holding these goods. Then it is a distinct good or distinct performance. Otherwise, it's a single performance. So since all the activities which are given here is associated to associated for building a power plant, so it will be a single performance. So let's see the question part of this. How many performance obligations does the entity have? Okay. So it is a single performance obligation. I hope the reason is clear. Okay. Let's move to the third part of this scenario. In financial year X1, X2, ABC Limited incurred the following expenditure in acquiring property consisting of 6 identical houses, each with separate legal title, including the land on which it is built. The expenditure incurred on various dates is given below. On 1st April, you have purchased the cost of the purchase cost is mentioned of the property 1 crore 80 lakh. On 1st April 20X2, non-refundable transfers taxes 20 lakh, not included in the purchase cost. So this 1,80,000 is exclusive, not including this, exclusive of transfer taxes, non-refundable transfer taxes. So this is going to be added. Okay. Again, we move on to the third portion. On 2nd April, legal costs related to property acquisition. Obviously, if any acquisition of property is done and any legal cost is incurred, obviously, when you are having a property, you have to register it also. You need to go for any legal vetting also. So everything forms part of that cost of the asset. So it is also a capitalized item, and it will also be again added. Then comes your advertisement campaign to attract tenants. Is it going to create any asset? No, it is a recurring nature of it. This expenses of recurring nature. You are going to do this advertisement always. Once the property is built, you will let it out, and once that tenant has left that property or vacant that property, again you will advertise for another tenant. So this is a continuous process. It is not going to enhance the value of the property, but it is going to maintain the contract life. So it is a regular expense, will not be considered. It is not going to be deducted. It is not going to be considered. On 8th April, opening ceremony function for starting business 1,50,000. So again, this expenditure is not going to enhance the value of your asset. It is not going to increase the value. It is not going to make any value addition. It is simply is an expenditure to, you are celebrating that you have acquired that asset and that is ready for use. Okay. So it is for starting business. So this is also not included as it's not capitalized through the cost of the asset. Throughout 2000 X2 X3 incurred 1 lakh towards day-to-day repairing. Again, it is a regular nature expenses. It's a repair, maintenance, and other administrative expenses. It is not going to increase the value of the asset, so it will again not be included. So ABC Limited uses one of the 6 houses for office. One of the 6 houses. So 1 by 6 is your, what is the classification? And 5 by 6, which they are not using it for office and accommodation of its few staff, that will be considered as your, answer. Be considered as your investment property. Okay. But in both the cases, whether you are doing property, plant, equipment, you are measuring the value of PPE or you're measuring the value of investment property, process will be same. Concept is same. So all the expenditures which is there, because both are assets, both are tangible assets. So their accounting is to be done in a similar fashion. Okay. So what we have added is here 1,80,000 plus 20 lakh plus 5,000. So it comes to 2 crore 5 lakh is the value of your entire property. Out of this, 1/6 is used for your PP and remaining is used for your investment property. So this is the accounting you have to do. Now let's see the question part. What is the cost of the entire property? This we have already calculated. 2 crore 5 lakh, and then comes what is the cost of investment property? Investment property is 5 by 6 of, so value of 2 lakh 5,000, 2 crore 5 will be investment property and 1 by 6 of the same will be your own occupied property. So calculation you will get somewhere this value as 5 by 6 figure, and this value you will get for your 1 by 6 property. Okay. I have given you the formula. You can calculate it on your calculator and we can move forward. Okay, students? Next, move on to case scenario 2. DEF Limited is a diversified business group operating in multiple business segments across different parts of the world with multiple subsidiaries. It maintains its books of accounts and publishes its annual financial statements under Indian accounting standards. The finance team has been working on closing the books of accounts and generating financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2000X1 and are facing issues in the following transactions while finalization of financial statement. First is that profit attributable to ordinary equity holders is mentioned. Weighted average number of ordinary shares, weighted average shares has been mentioned. Average market price of one ordinary share during the year is mentioned. This is the average market price. Weighted average number of shares under options. 1 lakh shares has been mentioned. Exercise price for shares under option. This is the exercise price. In general, exercise price of the option is less than the market value. Okay, average market value, because options are given. So it is always an option, and to make it lucrative, we are always giving it at a lesser value. However, when we are calculating earning per share, in case of such situation, it is diluted earning per share. We have to see by how many number of shares the dilution has taken place. For dilution of taken place, any shares which is issued to anybody, to the employers, to employees or to shareholders, it should always be on average market. However, this 1 lakh shares has not been issued at average market price. It has been issued on exercise price, which is much less than what is the average value. So we have to calculate how many number of shares should not have been issued if we have issued in case of एवरेज मार्केट प्राइस. अगर हमने एवरेज मार्केट प्राइस के हिसाब से इशू किया होता तो हमने ऑब्वियसली 1 लाख शेयर्स नहीं दिए होते. हमने क्योंकि कम वैल्यू पे दिए तो हमने ज्यादा दे दिए आपको. लेकिन अगर मैंने कहा ज्यादा वैल्यू पे देने थे तो मैं आपको कुछ कम दे रही हूँ. तो कितना मैं आपको एक्स्ट्रा दे रही हूँ वो मेरा डाइल्यूशन है, एंड आई हैव टू टेक आउट दैट डाइल्यूशन पोर्शन. सी है. सो 1 लाख into 15 by 20, you get 5. So you get how many value? 15 or 3/4 हो गया ना, तो 25,000. So this 25,000 is the additional shares which have been provided to you. So this is the dilution. This dilution जो है यही हमें add on करना है for calculation of base diluted EPS. For basic EPS, simple profit attributable divided by weighted average number of shares, you will get the basic earning per share. For diluted earning per share, you have to first calculate what is the number of shares, which additional number of shares which have been issued because of your lesser exercise price, and which is creating a dilution. Dilution is created by 25,000. So it is basically 12 lakh. The profit remains the same intact, divided by dilution shares means 5,25,000. This can be done 5 lakh plus 1 lakh minus 75,000 dilution, or you can say this is the number of shares which lead to dilution. Okay, so you'll get lesser value. That is the reason. Basic EPS में आपकी जो value आएगी, so for example, not the calculations come say is 2.4 per share, but in your diluted earning per share, always and always your earning per share will be less than your basic earning per share. That is the reason we say diluted. It is diluted. It's not that strong. That basic जो है उससे कम हो गया, dilution हो गया. So diluted earning per share will always be less than your basic earning per share. Okay. And what is the reason of dilution is? The dilution means that your profit per share reduces. Huh? And what is the reason of reduction? Is the shares are not issued on average market price. Shares are issued on exercise price, which is much less than what is the average market price. So what is the difference of number of shares or additional shares which have been issued because of lesser value? Okay. So we go through the question part. What will be the basic EPS? We have already calculated 2.4, and what will be the diluted EPS? So diluted EPS 12 lakh. This is the EP earning per share. 5 lakh is the weighted average, in which 1 lakh you have issued, but your dilution is by 75,000. Should be average market price is 75,000 होना चाहिए. So number of shares is 5,25,000 after the dilution, which will be used. So 12 lakh divided by 5,25,000. Okay. You will get your diluted earning per share, which is less than this. So it will always be 2. It is, you can, after computation, you find it is 2.29. Next, move to the next scenario. DF Limited enters into a contract to buy 100 tons of cocoa beans at rupees. This is rupees, okay? At rupees 1,000 per ton for delivering in 12 months. On the settlement date, the market price of cocoa beans is 1,500 per ton. Again, this is rupees 1,500 per ton. The contract cannot be settled net in cash and is entered for delivery of cocoa beans. Important is that it is not settled in cash. It is settled by delivering the cocoa beans in line with DF Limited's expected purchase or usage requirement. So this is basically a execution contract. You have to execute this contract. You cannot settle it through cash or settle through difference in the value. You have to deliver the item, commodity. So it is basically executory contract. Okay. Let's go with the MCQ. What is the nature of the contract entered into for cocoa beans? Cost contract, cash contract. Obviously, we are not paying cash for this, na? So this is not a cash contract. We are saying, is it a derivative contract? Are we deriving the value from some underlying asset? No, there is a direct cost of cocoa beans which is there. So this is not also a derivative. Non-executory. Is it a non-executory? We have to execute. No, it is an executory contract. We have to deliver the commodity. So it is not even a non-executory. It will be an executory contract. Okay, because we are going to deliver the cocoa beans. Fine. Next is, okay. Again, we are coming to the third point. TF Limited invests in compulsory convertible preference shares. CCPS issued by a subsidiary B Limited at rupees 1,000 each. 10 rupees face value plus 990 rupees for premium. Under the terms of the instrument, each CCPS is compulsorily convertible into one equity share of B Limited at the end of 5 years. Such CCPS, that is compulsorily convertible preference shares, carry dividend at 12% per annum, payable only when declared at the discretion of B Limited. So, who the issuer is B Limited, and B Limited has the entire right to convert it. The terms of the contract is compulsorily convertible. There is no option provided. And the dividend also is to be paid that rest with the issuer of the contract, that instrument. So in that case, and they are compulsory convertible, it means they have to give the equity on this. So this is an equity contract, but for whom? It is for B Limited. This portion is missing in the question, students. You can just note it down. What is the nature of financial instrument mentioned in point 3 for B Limited? Now, because the scenario is from the perspective of DEF Limited, if it comes from DEF Limited, then what will be the nature of the financial instrument? In that case, when I'm investing in any preference shares, my investment is there. Investment is always an asset. But in that case, it will be for DEF Limited. It will be a financial asset. It will be equity for B Limited. Okay. So you have to take care. It is a DF Limited. For DF Limited, it's a financial asset. For equity, it is a B Limited. In the question part, it is missing. Please add for B Limited, and the answer is equity. If it is for DF Limited, it would mention your answer will be financial asset. Okay. Let's move on to case scenario 3. PQR Limited is required to adopt Ind AS from 1st April 20X1 with comparatives for 1 year. For 20X0X1. On 1st April 20X1, PQR Limited acquired 30% of voting ordinary voting ordinary shares of XYZ Limited for 8,000 crore. PQR Limited accounts. When you have acquired 30% shares, it means what have you acquired? Significant influence. You have acquired significant influence in your another entity, that is XYZ Limited. So XYZ Limited is an associate. Okay. And when it's an associate, which accounting method you will be using? Equity method. Okay. At 31st March 20x, accounting acquisition was done on 1st April 20x1, and now we are coming to 31st March X02. On 31st March 2000x2, PQR Limited recognized a share of net asset changes. So what is in under equity method? What happens? In the cost of investment plus any gain or any share of profit is added to the cost of investment. Okay. So there are three types of share of profit which is added to the value of the investment. To 8,000 is share of profit and loss 700, share of exchange difference in which is through OCI, and share of revaluation reserve of property, plant and equipment which is also through OCI. So total value on 31st March comes to 8850. Okay. That 30% investment key on the year end, on the reporting date, we have the value of 8850 by equity method. Now, next year, 1st April 20x2, PQR Limited acquired remaining 70%. Earlier, they were having 30%. Now they have more 70%. So it comes to 100%. And when they are acquiring 100%, what becomes XYZ Limited is an associate now? No. It becomes subsidiary. Okay. And when it becomes subsidiary, you have to find out the acquisition date. You have to find out the purchase consideration. You have to find out goodwill or bargain purchase. Okay. Because now it's not a concept of equity method or associate accounting. It is the concept of subsidiary or consolidation of financial statement. And for the purpose of consolidated financial statement, first of all, the acquisition date is 1st April, because on this date, you are gaining control over XYZ, and control is either more than 50% shareholding or control over board of directors, and there are many power and there are many conditions. But here, because nothing is mentioned, we'll go straight forward with the acquisition. We'll determine with the help of the acquisition, and acquisition is of 100% shares. So it is, we assume it is a control. And when it is a control, the relationship changes from associate to subsidiary. And when it comes to subsidiary, if we have any step acquisition, 30% was the step 1 acquisition, 70% is step 2 acquisition. So we have to find out the fair value of step 1 acquisition. Step 1 acquisition was of 30%, for which year-end value was 8850. And on the date of gaining control, your value had become, fair value came to be 9,000. What kind of gain have you received? 150. This gain is where directed to statement of profit and loss. Another gain, which was in OCI, that will also be reclassified from OCI to P&L because it's a share of exchange difference in OCI. If you go through OCI format, you'll find there are two types of category. One which can be reclassified to P&L, or one which cannot be reclassified. Okay, that moves to routed through retained earnings. So it can be reclassified. Since it can be reclassified, we have added this also. So P&L gain is 250. Can we classify this also? This is revaluation reserve of PP in OCI. Anybody who can answer me? Anybody? Tahir, Gaurav, Gangwani, here we are having. Students, sorry, I was having many questions, but somehow I missed it. It was not updated. I'll take up questions. Tahir, Gaurav, Shriman, Mansha, Tahir, I'll take up these questions. Somewhere I missed those questions. Realize right now. So I'll taking down. After this case scenario, I'll take up the questions. Okay. So this revaluation reserve of PP through OCI cannot be reclassified to P&L as per your Ind AS 16. property, plant and equipment. They says any revaluation reserve of PP which is rooted in OCI, when it is to be reclassified, it will be routed through retained earning. Okay. And when it is routed through retained earning, it will not go to P&L. So your main will be 250 will be your routed through statement of profit and loss, and remaining 50 will be routed through your retained earning. It will be directly go to retained earning. So let's move on and see what is the question part of this particular part. Okay. What is the fair value of the total consideration? When we are doing step acquisition, in case of step acquisition, we have to find the fair value of step 1 acquisition. Step 1 acquisition was 30%. Fair value of that step 1 acquisition is given in the question as 9,000. So we'll take 9,000. Remaining 70% ke liye, what is the value? That is, what have we paid? If we go through the question, we'll find, sorry. And for this, they is mentioned, acquired remaining 70% of ICAI for cash of 25,000 crore. So if we are saying 25,000 crore, so it becomes now 25,000 plus 9,000 is equal to the total purchase consideration. Fair value of the consideration comes to 34,000. Okay. Hope this part is clear. What is the amount of goodwill in the said business combination? 34,000 is the purchase consideration. Value of identifiable asset is 30,000. We do not have any NCI because 100% control has been taken over. So no NCI value, and it will be 4,000 will be goodwill. Okay. 4,000 will be goodwill. Next move, what is the gain on previously held interest in XYZ Limited recognized in profit or loss? So this we have already discussed earlier, how to compute what is to be reclassified to profit and loss and what should not be reclassified to profit and loss. Revaluation reserve of PP in OCI will not be reclassified. What will be reclassified was share of exchange difference in OCI. So 100, 150 plus 100, 250 will be the gain which is to be routed through P&L and 50 to retained earning. So 250 is the correct answer. Gain on previously held interest recognized in P&L. Okay. Now this scenario has one more part at the beginning. PQR Limited is required to adopt Ind AS from 1st April 20X1 with comparatives for 1 year, that is for 20X0 and 20X1. So what will be your transition date? As per chapter 1, where we are studying the roadmap, applicability of Ind AS, you'll find if any entity opt for applying Ind AS financial statements or for transitioning to Ind AS in particular financial year or the current year, they have to prepare their balance sheet for this. 1st April 2000X1 is your date where you have decided to shift to Ind AS. So financial year 20X1, X2 will be considered as current year. Comparative year will be 20X0, X1. And since it is the first time you are opting for transition, so the beginning of the first day or the preceding date of the first date, immediate preceding date of the comparative previous year. So first year date of this previous year is 1st April 20X0. 1st April 20X0 will be the preceding date of, the first date of your preceding or immediately preceding comparative year. So this will be considered as your transition date. Okay. For transition date for Ind AS, and current year will be 20X1, X2. Since your Ind AS financial statements should always have comparative financial statement, even AS-based financial statement, they should have comparative financial statements also. So you have to prepare 2 balance sheets, you have to prepare 2 statement of P&L, but you have to find out the first opening balance sheet also at a for your transition, for first time adoption of Indian accounting standard, and on that date also you have to prepare the balance sheet. So this is your transition On this date, you'll find all the recognition, de-recognition, measurement, re-measurement based on Ind AS. And based on that, then you'll draw comparative financial statements and current year financial statements. Okay. So the question is, what is the transition date? Transition date, as we saw earlier, it will be 1st April 20X0, and PQR presents as comparative financial statements for the year. So comparative will be your X0, X1. It will be 1 year. It will not be 3 years. This is your current year. Sorry, this is your next year. Sorry. This is your current year. And we are talking about comparative year. So comparative year is your X0, X1. Any financial year cannot be of 3 years. So this is itself wrong. Okay. So moving to your MTP1, let's see what are the queries. Can we Gaurav Gangwani is asking, can we abbreviate in exams like PP? Yes, for certain terminologies which are very commonly used. It is not that you are using it. It is standard, commonly used throughout the industry or throughout the corporate world. When you are accounting world, that can be used in your answers also. Or you can do one more thing. If you are using the same abbreviation many times, first time you can give the detail, full form, and then you can use the abbreviation. For example, if you are using, say, for example, you are using long-term liabilities, you are mentioning it as NTL, or you are mentioning it as non-current liabilities, NCL. So you can just first time write NCL is equal to non-current liabilities, and everywhere you then use NCL. Then it will be understood by the examiner also. The purpose is that examiner should understand what you are mentioning it. If he won't be able to understand your abbreviation, he won't give you the marks. So the reason is that try to avoid abbreviations which are not commonly used. Or if you are giving those abbreviations just to save time, then in that case, just for the first time you mention the इन दैट पर्टिकुलर एग्जामिनेशन. ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले एग्जाम में दिया और आप लास्ट वाले पहले क्वेश्चन में आपने वो एब्रीविएशन डिटेल में दिया एंड देन यू आर यूजिंग द सेम एब्रीविएशन इन लास्ट आंसर. डोंट डू दैट. ट्राई टू गिव इट इन दैट पर्टिकुलर आंसर ओनली. ओके. Okay, investment property. Yes, Gaurav, it was correct since these are highly interrelated services. One performance. Okay. Does the introductory part of Ind AS some theory part? Okay, Gaurav, this question is relevant. Let me take up this question. Does the introductory part of Ind AS some theory part mandatory to be explained in numerical questions? It depends on the requirement part of the question. If your question says explain, describe, or comment, then in that case, it's always better to give 1 or 2 line explanation. Further, it also depends on marks also. If I am saying the answer is of 8 marks and you need only 2 computation to do, definitely you have to explain it through theory. So you have to then give in detail the theory part. Okay. Okay, Gaurav Gangwani is saying, I have practiced past question. It is very necessary, beta. Always see for any competitive examination, for any professional examination, past examination paper should always be attempted. Okay. They should be referred. They should be thoroughly referred, in fact. Ma'am, I have, okay. What is this Sriman Mutha? Good afternoon. Can you please tell the mail ID where we can ask doubts? Okay, students, in case you want to ask queries related to financial reporting, you can mail me at shilpa@ici.in. You can mail at BoS@ici.in also. Let me write it here. My name is Shilpa. You can ask me at this mail ID, or you can also mail at BOS @ and they can send me the query. Okay. One more mail ID is there, FR-final. You can also mail it here also. On mobile app, ask your queries there. There also you can place your queries. Mobile app में ask your query पे भी आप पूछ सकते हैं. Okay. Okay. More questions. Gaurav Gangwani, what were you referring as not in syllabus? Sorry, since I have not noticed the questions earlier. There was some technical glitch. So you just tell me what you were mentioning as not in syllabus. Okay, Tahir was asking. Okay, Tahir, yes, this is possible. As you mentioned, preparing balance sheet as per Schedule 3 format, but working note as per schedule. There's no format for working note. You can do in the form of table, you can do in the form of statement, you can do in the form of simple uh, running sentences. So there's no format for working note. Format is for your financial statement. That is on the face of the balance sheet, what you have to do, right? On the face of statement of profit and loss, what you need to write. There is the format, but not for any working note. So definitely working note, the presentation for working note can be as per your understanding. Okay. Okay, India is 117. Yes, India's 117 will be considered as not exactly out of syllabus, because if it is out of syllabus, then we would have not excluded through your study guidelines. Right now, India's 117 is excluded because it is a recent amendment, a recent notified standard. And for any standard to be applicable, it should be 1 year prior to your date of examination. For November 24 examination, your cutoff date is October 2023. Any standard which is issued or notified prior to October 2023 will be applicable to you for your November 24 examination. But India is 117. This has been notified in the month of August 24, 2024. So definitely it is not applicable. Not because it is out of syllabus. It is because the amendment is not relevant for you as per the cutoff date. Second, we have given as an exclusion through study guidelines 104, which was on insurance contract. 117, India's 117 replaces 104, and 104 was excluded by way of study guideline. So 117 is also excluded, but it is not out of syllabus. Let me tell you, when I say other Indias, which forms part of your section 4, other Indias में वो जो सारी चीजें नहीं आती, रेसिडुअरी कैटेगरी है, सब आ जाएंगे. इंडेस है तो आ जाएंगे, है ना. तो 117 भी आ जाता उसमें, पर हमने उसको एक्सक्लूड किया है. 104 को किया है, जो अभी आपके लिए एप्लीकेबल है. लेटर ऑन 117 विल आल्सो फॉल अंडर सेम कैटेगरी, और फिर आपके लिए वो रहेगा, मतलब एक्सक्लूडेड रहेगा. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Okay. Nahi, Gaurav, we won't be able to reply for this. When will the admit cards be issued? We cannot mention that because that is examination department who will be taking it. They issue the examination cards, the examination forms, admit cards, centers, your exam, every information regarding that has to be procured from examination department. Board of Studies will help you in the inputs, study materials, RTP suggested mock test papers, inputs for your preparation. Any BoS input publication which is required for your preparation, that will be provided by Board of Studies, not the examination related issues. That will not be catered to this department. Okay, so you have to call to examination department for admit cards, and I believe admit cards by this time should have been issued for your November. And please just check the website where you have filled a form, or you check your email ID, registered email ID, which you have provided while filling the form, or you just please contact to examination department. Okay, you can note one number. This is the reception number of this sector 62 office where examination department is there. 30120 is the STD code. 0120 is the STD code, and 3045946. This is the reception number of this building, and here you can ask them to connect with the examination department. They'll tell you the number, or they will pass on the line. Okay, this is the reception number. You can contact them. Okay, then what do we say? One question. Okay, Anish Rava has asked, can we get complete recording of the session? Yes, students, this is available. Yes, this will be available on YouTube. After the session also, you can go through that, and also on our BoS knowledge portal. When you go for login, you will find it there. Also, if you are having BoS mobile app, then this recording you can find it over your BoS mobile app also. For previous session of BoS for Success, for all the papers that is already there has been uploaded there, and these sessions will also be uploaded there. Okay, and it will also be available on your YouTube also, ICAI Tube channel. Okay, fine. Shall we move to our next case scenario? We have 20 minutes and I believe we'll be able to cover it. So let's move on to case scenarios of mock test paper 1. Okay. By the time you have any queries, you can place me. I'll be happy to reply, beta. Anybody, even your silliest question you have, you feel ki what will other feel, still I'm happy to reply and I'll be replied very honestly to you. See, एक बार silly लगेगा, but once you know the answer, it will always be you'll be knowledgeable of that, na? So always ask even the smallest doubt you have. Okay. Okay, some students are already watching it through BoS mobile app. Huh? So you, Anish, you can also go through that. How to create enthusiasm in an FR. And FR is already a paper which has that chills and frizz. Na? So it's not that you have to create. It's not a dry subject. And FR financial reporting is a paper where you'll find mix of everything. Some questions, some standards where you have to really involve your mind. You have to understand deeply. Some questions standards are there which are catchy, which are easy, relatively easy to understand. So it has its own charm. So I don't think it's a boring paper. It's not a dry paper, but still, if you feel for enthusiasm, I believe go just when you study any particular standard, try to do that mind mapping. Mind mapping always create interest. You feel that you have to prepare your notes, and that note should be always in the form of flow chart. I believe that will help you in creating enthusiasm because you are preparing your own charts. Second thing is that when you have to create interest in this paper, try to do more and more practical questions. प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस में आपको एक नींद कम आती है, बोरियत नहीं होती. थ्योरी पेपर्स में आप थोड़ा सा वो हो सकते हो, पैसिव हो सकते हो, बट दिस विल ऑलवेज मेक यू एक्टिव. सो टू क्रिएट दैट charm, try to do as many of questions in writing. Try to fill number of papers, na? So that will also a charm. Okay. Okay, one Aditi asked, why do we reclassify some expenses from OCI to P&L, like exchange difference in OCI? See, beta, what happens is that there are why do we create OCI? First of all, we have to understand this concept. Why do we create OCI? What is the need? Everything can be routed to P&L, but why are we creating a separate section that is other comprehensive income? The reason is that there are certain gains or certain losses also which are not realized in cash, or they are not actual gain or losses, but they are gain or losses, or maybe they are gain or losses which you are incurring but are not exactly in the form of cash or something. They are not very visible, but calculation wise we are finding that there are some gains and they may materialize at some later point of time. Okay, so that is the reason we do not place it in the P&L, because they're not actual gain or losses, but since still they are gain or losses from the accounting perspective, so we have placed it in a separate section, that is other comprehensive income. Now in other comprehensive income we are placing it because at present this is not actual, but it may happen that in future it becomes actual. If in future it becomes actual, then it should come back to P&L, na? So that is the reason we say it will be reclassified. If it will in future also, it will not be an actual gain. It will be something which you felt it is a gain. For example, you stay in a property until and unless you sell it out. आपने फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने खरीदी थी 50 लाख की, आज की डेट में वो हो गई 70 लाख की, 2 साल बाद वो हो जाएगी. टुडे यू हैव परचेज अ प्रॉपर्टी विच इज ऑफ 50 lakh. After 2 years or after 5 years, it becomes of 70 lakh. Later, it becomes of 90 lakh. It becomes of 1 crore 10 lakh. So this is the gain which you are feeling it, but you are not realizing it. It's not a material gain. It is not an actual gain. You are finding it. You know from the market this is the gain. So such type of gains are routed through OCI. But when you in actual sell that asset, okay. When in actual you sell that asset, so what will happen? You will get the enhanced or increased value of that asset in your hand. By sale price will be much higher. So that will be actual gain. So when actual gain is there तो हम उसको reclassify कर लेते हैं. जब actual gain नहीं होता है तो वो OCI में पड़ा होता है, और वो अगर आपको OCI से करना है कि भैया वो एसेट ही नहीं रह गया पर उस पर गेन हुआ था कभी, तो उस गेन को आप रिटेन अर्निंग के थ्रू रूट करते हो, फिर आप उसे रिक्लासिफाई नहीं करते. ओके ओके, वन क्वेश्चन मैं पीछे ऊपर चली, दे हैव वेंट अप ना. अच्छा ठीक है. हाउ टू प्रिपेयर थरोली फॉर MCQs. Students, we have already come with MCQ paper practice portal. This portal is really very helpful and you should take advantage of that, because in case you are not able to answer any MCQ or any case scenario correctly, whenever you go for unlimited number of time, until and unless you are not able to accurate that answer, तब तक आपको वो बार बार पूछता जाएगा. तो it will train you. तो ये आप, this is very good source of MCQ paper practice portal that will help you for MCQs. Okay. Another thing is that we are giving MCQs for through RTP also, through your mock test papers, and in general they are all new MCQs. Okay. So you can practice those MCQs through RTPs, mock test papers also. Your suggested answer आएगा for this exam. आपका May 24 के लिए आया, नवंबर के लिए आएगा, तो वो भी आपको प्रैक्टिस पे हेल्प होगा. अब तो इनफैक्ट नाउ ऑनवर्ड फ्रॉम November 2024 you will be getting your question paper for MCQ portion also. Earlier MCQ portion was not given, so now it is there. So you can practice from there also, from past examinations. Okay. Now, Anish Rava is asking, ma'am, in last May attempt, I have prepared thoroughly for MCQ portion, but not even single concept is repeated in final May examination. Can we get chapter-wise MCQs anywhere? Independent MCQs given on the paper practice portal is chapter-wise only. However, for examination purpose, you won't be getting it chapter-wise. For examination purpose, it will be an integrated case scenario, like what we have discussed right now for your mock test paper 2. One case scenarios may cover your 2 or 3 standards. So such type of questions will also appear in your examination also. Mock test papers are replica of what is going to appear, or the format or structure in what it is going to appear in your main examination. So that format also only we have followed. So it will always be integrated case scenarios in your exam also. So it will have whatever appeared in your examination for May 2024, they were not given in the form of MCQs in your paper practice portal, but they were given in the form of illustration in your study material, except one or two. One theoretical for your accounting technology, that may be different. One question on inventory was a different question on consignment. Otherwise, most of the things were given in your study material and they were framed in the form of MCQs. So if you prepare for illustrations, written practice of illustration, that will be as good as preparation for your descriptive as well as MCQ part. Okay. Okay. Small tricky adjustments make it interesting. Okay, one student have replied for you, Anisha, who asked me how to make this paper enthusiastic or increase the excitement. So small tricky adjustments make it interesting. Practical paper, beta, it won't be boring otherwise if you do written practice, na? Okay. Well, can we get chapter-wise MCQs? We have noted this suggestion. We are considering this suggestion. We are trying to come out with MCQ, some booklet or chapter-wise. I don't know. It will be chapter-wise. It is difficult for a chapter-wise MCQ because integrated case scenario cannot belong to any particular chapter. So it will be difficult to give any chapter-wise case scenarios MCQs. But independent MCQs are already uploaded in chapter-wise format. Okay. Okay, now we have 10 minutes students. So instead of taking the mock test paper 1 case scenarios, I would like to come back to the PPT again, okay? And try to discuss some general parts which I thought I have already covered in previous webcast, but still would like to have it. There are some typical errors which I have not covered in your previous session. This I want to say. There are some typical errors which students conduct in the examination, and this is the observation which the examiners give us, and we compile and we give it after every examination also. For May 2024 examination, we have come out with the examiners' comments. Similarly, we'll be having for every attempt. So examiners give some observations based on whatever the answer sheets they are checking, and based on that what we came to understand, and we are trying to bring it out here that students learn from others' mistake and try to not do those mistakes when it comes to your paper or when it comes to your performance. Okay. Okay, student, I'll try to do this, ma'am. It's better to give complete explanation for MCQ answers in MTP so that we can learn easily. Good, Anish, good suggestion. I'll just take care of it. I'll try to do it, na? I'll give it to you. Okay, you can put me, you can do one thing, students, those who want complete explanation for these MCQs, which are covered in your mock test paper. I have already shared my email ID there, shilpa@icai.in or final@icai.in or bos@icai.in. You can mail there and they'll forward it to me and I'll give the reply to you. I'll give the detailed explanations there. Okay. Though I have already covered for mock test paper 2, but still, if you want, I can give the detailed explanation there. I'll share with you all. Okay. Typical errors conducted by the students in the numerical portion of the examination. One is the lack of in-depth study. Students, as I already discussed with you, certain key terms which are often used in any standard that should come in your examination, that should come in your answer, that should be reflected in your answer. If it is not reflected, it is somewhere it gives an indication that your preparation is very shallow or is not up to the mark. So try to use those terminologies, and every standard has one or the two, some terminologies. If it is 101 onward standards, you'll find it in appendix form. Definitions are given in appendix. If it is 1 to 41, India is 1 to 41, then there are some bold paragraph which carries those terms. Like for your India is 1 only, if we talk about current, non-current, operating cycle, okay, scheduling, offsetting, line item. These are some keywords which are there for that particular standard. So you should take care of those terms while while answering it. Okay. Lack of focus in theoretical portion. Most of the examiners found that students for this paper, they try to do practical questions and leave out the theory questions. They don't attempt, or they attempt it in a very shallow form, or they do it at the end with less explanation. Doing it at the end with less explanation is quite understandable because of paucity of time you are doing it, but focus is not on theory paper, it's more on computation. It is also reflected when a question has two sub parts, one is theoretical and one is computation, and students do only computation part and they miss out the theory portion. Like a student asked, do we have to give the explanation along with computation? If marks allow you to do that, or if the requirement question part of the question mentions explain, comment something, then yes, you have to give the theory. Students generally miss that part also. So that is what examiners have observed, that they are lacking in theoretical question answer. Okay. Achha, lack written practice. See, like I said you, when you are analyzing your performance for any mock test paper, you have to self-introspect what went wrong. How many marks, whatever marks you have lost, what was the reason for losing those particular marks? So, like you will identify the reason for when you analyze why you have lost that mark. Similarly, examiners also analyze. And when examiners analyze, they also introspect and they find that बच्चे फिगर्स में मिस्टेक किया है, पिछले पेज फ्रॉम लास्ट पेज टू नेक्स्ट पेज द रॉन्ग कैरी फॉरवर्ड हैज बीन डन, कंप्यूटेशन में प्लस करना था माइनस कर दिया, 1052 लिखना था 1025 लिख दिया. तो दिस टाइप ऑफ मिस्टेक्स व्हेन दे नोटिस ना, दे आल्सो रियलाइज कि दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ hand and mind coordination. Why there is a lack of hand and mind coordination? Because they have not done sufficient written practice. So that is the reason it is always advised to, in practical papers, especially in financial reporting paper, to do written practice. One more reason for doing written practice. Sometimes what happens, आपको कई कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में नहीं आते. इंडिया थोड़ा टेक्निकल है, कुछ स्टैंडर्ड्स आपके डिफिकल्ट भी होंगे, आपको समझना मुश्किल हो रहा है, या फिर आप समझ के उसको भूल जाते हैं क्योंकि लेकिन अगर आप प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस करेंगे उन कॉन्सेप्ट्स पे बार बार कई क्वेश्चंस करेंगे, तो समवेयर वो आपके माइंड में वो कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आने लग जाता है. तो वन वे ऑफ लर्निंग द कॉन्सेप्ट इज टू डू गुड नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. ओके, तो दैट इज ऑल्सो द रीजन कि हमें करना चाहिए. ओके, एंड देन इज रिटन प्रैक्टिस. मैंने बता दिया, इसका रीजन बता रही हूँ. एक हैंड एंड माइंड कोऑर्डिनेशन होता है, एक आपकी कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी आती है. बहुत बार प्रैक्टिस करो तो डिफिकल्ट चीज भी इजी हो जाती है ना. एनी बिग क्वेश्चन ऑफ कंसोलिडेशन जिसमें आप एक यू गेट स्केयर बिकॉज योर बैलेंस शीट डोंट टेल यू एवरी टाइम. आप लेकिन उसी को बार बार करेंगे. डिफिकल्ट से डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन नवंबर 2023 का पेपर कहते हैं बहुत डिफिकल्ट आया था, पर आप 5 बार कर लीजिए, उसे 3 बार कर लीजिए, फॉर दैट सेक आप 3 बार पूरा पेपर कर लीजिए, आपको वो पेपर इजी लगने लगेगा क्योंकि आपने बार बार प्रैक्टिस किया। तो ये टिपिकल एरर्स कंडक्टेड बाय द एग्जामिनेशन में एक है लैक ऑफ कंप्लीट नॉलेज ऑफ फॉर्मेट्स। फॉर्मेट्स पे ध्यान देना है, ये हमने एक नोट किया ना। इम्प्रॉपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, देखो मैंने ये भी एक पॉइंट डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली आप लोगों को बताया है, वी हैव ब्रॉट इट टू योर नोटिस कि मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दिया था, स्टूडेंट केम टू माय प्लेस व्हेन दे वाज जस्ट इवैल्यूएटिंग कि व्हाई हैव स्कोर्ड फुल मार्क्स, दैट वाज अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ 115 इफ यू रिमेंबर द एग्जांपल व्हिच आई हैव गिवन। they have given second part of the question not of, and have left out answering first part of the question. Why? Because improper understanding of the question tha, or we have not improper time allocation, that is over there. You have not read the question very carefully. In your financial reporting paper, each and every word has some significance. To, by, of, every small preposition, even the preposition has some significance and they may change your calculation. So please go through each and every word of the question. Sometimes आपको आंसर नहीं बनता होगा, लेकिन आप क्वेश्चन को बहुत ध्यान से 2 बार पढ़ेंगे ना, कुछ तो कुछ समझ में आ ही जाएगा कि कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही सकते हैं, कई बार सही भी कर सकते हैं ना, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन ही कई बार जितना बड़ा क्वेश्चन ना उतना इजी, क्योंकि वो आपको सब चीज बता रहा है, ये भी करना है, उसके बाद ये करना है, उसके बाद ये करना है। छोटे क्वेश्चन ज्यादा ट्रिकी होते हैं, कहने को है छोटे क्वेश्चंस हैं, बट स्मॉल क्वेश्चंस कैरी सम ट्रिकी एडजस्टमेंट्स बिकॉज दे आर नॉट वेल एक्सप्लेन्ड। बिग क्वेश्चंस आर वेल एक्सप्लेन्ड, स्टेप बाय स्टेप एक्सप्लेनेशन इज देयर, so you'll be able to give the solution easily. So don't get scared with big questions, or they are easy to do it, but you have to be very careful while reading the questions, each and small, you focus on every word. Okay. Tahir is asking one question. In PPE revaluation model question, faculty didn't take the impact of depreciation and just adjust the revalued amount in faculty. Which faculty, beta? In PPE revaluation model question, faculty did not take the impact of depreciation and just adjust the revalued amount in P. Well, you have to tell me the question exactly, Tahir. Which question is there where you are pointing out? It may be there in some of the study material. We have to explain any sub part. So we ignore depreciation. We simply try to explain you what will be the treatment of revaluation. But you will find later some full-fledged questions which may have all adjustments of depreciation also, of revaluation also, of impairment also, of revision of impairment also. Everything you may find in one question. When we are explaining the concept, to explain that particular concept, we are giving it in the form with the help of example without touching upon any previous concept or any new concept. We are just explaining that one particular concept. So examples in the study material may be that for any particular concept, I'm giving an example without taking into consideration other concepts, just to explain the treatment so that you can understand कि हर एक adjustment की क्या counting होती है. Okay, and later on when we connect all the concepts, we integrate that, full-fledged questions भी आपको later मिल जाते हैं. ठीक है, अब आप ताहिर क्या पूछ रहे हैं? सॉरी मैं exactly नहीं समझ पा रही हूँ, but still I believe BoS faculty, what your LVC faculty? You are talking about LVC faculty. You just let me know. PP का तो अब आनी है, but still you are going to right now have, you'll be having investment property का standard. There will try to convey the message to them. Okay. Otherwise, if any particular concept has been missed out, you just go through the study material and from there you can refer. Otherwise, मैंने आपको समझा भी दिया कि यहाँ पे क्या रीजन होता है ना, क्यों छूटा. हम सिर्फ उसी कॉन्सेप्ट को समझा रहे हैं, तो हम उसमें बाकी को इंटीग्रेट करेंगे तो आप कहीं लॉस्ट ना हो जाए. ये भी एक रीजन है कि हमने आपको वही समझाया है, पर आपको अगर डिटेल समझना है तो आप स्टडी मटेरियल से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? ताहिर, गौरव, or here Anish, Arni, and anybody else who have any question, because now it's 4 o'clock. I don't think I'll be able to take mock test paper 1, but any question still you have, I'm there to resolve it. Otherwise we'll wind it up. Students, any question? Okay, thank you, Gaurav. Thanks for this appreciation. And I hope all the students who are watching this session, or those students who will be watching it later on, they find it useful and they just try to implement what suggestions we have given in this session. that will be really helpful. Students, try to honestly do this and be very careful and attentive, because this is your first paper and this will help you in performing for other papers also. If you perform better, I will have a good mood, good confidence, and that will reflect in your other papers also. So all the best and best of luck, and hope all of you, those who are watching it, you have a good understanding of the concepts and you fare well. Okay, all of you get success in the upcoming November 2024 examination. Thank you everyone, all the best, students. Okay, one question was there. Is it live? अभी भी live है? We can ask the like table of 4 year where Tahir, I would just please, in case you found a student LBC faculty have missed something, you're always given an option to raise the question there. Otherwise, you just mail me. My mail ID is shilpa@icai.in. Mail me and I'll forward your query to the concerned faculty and we'll try to get it resolved. Okay? Chalo, all the best. Huh? Bye, beta. Bye, everyone. Thank you, students.